So this is something interesting right here. So when I mean that these medical things are fake, that this is all part of the Russian mobs, this is the driver. It's been beeping. So what I said is, when I worked at the ER, these type of vehicles started coming in. This was in 2021. Is when the ER in Burbank at St. Joseph's started to see medical transportations come in. This type of vehicle, what I mean this type of vehicle, I mean this like model, this structure. And when they first started coming in, they were just all gray. And the drivers were Armenian men who dressed like this guy right here. They never had a uniform on. They dressed like this guy in regular clothes. And when they came in, the thing that the medical staff hated the most was that they would have to get a Armenian speaking hospital employee to communicate with the medical transportation personnel, which doesn't make any sense if you understand that the medical personnel have to be a trained EMT, which means that they have to know all of the English codes that are communicated between medical staff. Why is this guy even connected? This guy has been parking here recently, so I don't even know why he's connected. This is a construction guy, this other guy that just pulled up. So I don't get why. How does that make any sense? This guy's like, think about this. This is just to pull forward, okay? He didn't even know how to just pull forward. I'm just gonna blow that out your mind right there. And these, what I meant by this is also critical because what I'm trying to expose the most about the Russian mob is that the way that the United States law enforcement addresses medical fraud is they go after the practitioners or the agencies. What I'm trying to convey is that the Russian mob in Burbank has co-opted the clients, the patients that are on Medi-Cal and Medicare and get welfare effectively subsidized medical health benefits. And through what in the hell? And through networks of referrals, the patients, the Armenian patients, flood specific medical corporations with their services, with their need for services, so that the Russian mob can then use that business as a cloak to start siphoning off money. They're gonna wash it? Is that what this is gonna be? Because this guy lives right in the building. That guy right there is a driver. He lives in the building right next door. So he lives in this building. See, they're right over there. He lives in this building, and this is a new phenomenon. I don't know if this is a new job of his or something like that, but in the last probably 3 weeks, he's been periodically parking this vehicle as much as he tries to get it in that spot, that particular spot right there. But he didn't get that spot. But this is another thing too, is the idea of him bringing this vehicle home with him also red flags. What the fuck kind of professional medical fucking facility corporation is this, okay? But they can only exist in an area like Burbank and Glendale. So like the idea of them getting it washed like this, and this is going to be another component, because You gotta understand, this is medical. Everything here is medical. So cutting corners, but then charging medically, because like this, I was a janitor in the ER during the pandemic. Okay, so in a regular situation, when a patient leaves a room in the ER, you do. Look, he's just doing to tires. Look at this crazy shit. So you do the basic. You take the sheets off. You wipe down the mattresses. You wipe down the gurney. You wipe down the wires. You wipe down the walls. You wipe down the trash cans. You wipe down the monitors. You check the sharps bins to make sure that they're not at the level that they need to be filled, replaced. If the room has a bathroom, then you do the bathroom. Then you sweep, you mop. See, look, he's going to his house. Look at what kind of fucking sense does this motherfucking make? And again, this guy, that kid right there, that person, individual, you're not just driving like people. You're picking up primarily elderly people that are going back to. Look, they have a gurney on the side, just to show you. So you're picking up people from ERs that have come from elderly facilities, and they're in various states of care. You first of all, you bring them. Often the time you bring them. Sometimes they do call the ambulance, the legitimate ambulance, but they want to charge. You gotta understand, they want to charge to this business because this is how they make money. So this type of vehicle is going to be used to transport elderly Armenian patients in Armenian-owned facilities or under Armenian care to the hospital, particularly to the ER, and then transferred over to the hospital care. And then when they're stabilized, which could be done in the ER, I've seen this happen. It can be done in the ER, and then they're like, okay, no, they're safe, they could go back. But sometimes they do have to be put into the hospital as an inpatient, and they just wait a little bit longer. But it doesn't matter either way. When they're done with their care, the elderly patient that's at some kind of hospice type facility will then they're called for them to be transported back in one of these. When they come back, they still have to communicate to them all of these, consciousness level, the respiratory rate, what they did. And that's what I mean by the frustration of the actual American medical staff at St. Joseph Hospital was like, how is it possible that in this country, in America, we have to have a translator for medical transportation staff? How is that even possible? That doesn't make any type of sense whatsoever. Now, the guy that's driving this and bringing it home and paying another Armenian to basically wash it, again, what I'm trying to say is they're going to charge a lot of money because this is considered a medical thing. And he's doing it on the side of the street too. So this is all commercial. This is in Burbank right here. This is all commercial corporate activity that is being done completely in a home-like setting. Like this is a small business at maybe. So it's like, this would be something that would be done in the garage, and somebody can hire this for their house or something like that. This guy's going to be the one supposedly in charge of cleaning this. But I mean, I'm not going to go on too much longer because I'm already at 9 minutes. But I mean, if I can't hit home that this is fucking medical fraud, and the key to it is the patients. It is not just the personnel. It is not just this guy. He is a part of the Russian mob. You have to understand, this guy is part of the Russian mob. He works for the Russian mob. Is he a boss? Is he a gangster? No, he's a minion of the Russian mob. The guy driving this is a minion of the Russian mob. The people that own this, they have another level in the Russian mob. But they are directly tied to the Russian mob. And they operate on the same MO as the Russian mob in order to maximize fraud profits. And they need to be addressed like a terrorist organization. The entire Armenian immigrant community, the lawyers that bring them here. How did this guy even get to this fucking country? Because you could see that, I could even see just by looking at this motherfucker right here, that he doesn't speak no motherfucking English. It doesn't say he's not working or he's a bad person or anything like that. I'm just trying to reiterate to you. He didn't come to this country to become an American. He came to this country to facilitate Armenian organized crime that is directly tied to the Russian mob. He has no intention of learning English in order to make a small business for himself or to try to do something for himself. He has one fucking function in this world, and that is to serve the Russian mob and the criminal activities of Armenian organized crime here in Burbank. I'm not saying he does a bad job or he doesn't do his job right or anything like that. I'm saying what he is, he's a node in organized crime. And the guy that's driving this is another level because he is participating on a scale of fraud that had to manipulate his credentials in order to have the ability to be in that position. And bringing this shit to his house, this is the company right here. This is fucking 100% FBI level organized crime motherfucking fraud.